Hey, what's up guys? Mega here, and welcome back to another video. So this video, this is a video I've been wanting to make for not just since last week, but actually for a while now. And it is probably one of the most ambitious videos that I have ever done. Now, you see how long it is, you saw the title of this video, so you should know what you're getting into when clicking on this video, but I hope you watch till the end because this is an interesting video and pretty much a story that not too many people know. Even most of my friends don't even know exactly what happened on Gameknight999 when I was there. This is essentially my origin story, so to speak. Kind of. Before I get into it, some things that I want to say. A YouTuber named Garretron and Dakota, Super MC, inspired me to make this video. I know both of them, sort of. I kind of know Dakota, and I haven't talked to Garrett in a year, so, I really know Dakota more than I know Garrett, but, essentially, I used to play back in, fall 2015, essentially when my legacy began. I used to play on a server called Gameknight999, and you're all aware of Gameknight999, what it is. If I need to explain what it is, go look it up. I'm not going to explain what it is. It's a book series, and the server is named after the book series. So it's obviously Minecraft. I'll mention that it was Minecraft. But anyway, essentially Garrett and Dakota played on Gameknight999 long after I had left, and Garrett recently made a video stating that he was quitting YouTube, at least for the time being. Because, you know, when people quit YouTube, it's almost never permanent. But he had mentioned, you know, stuff about the Gameknight999 server because he himself is what we call a Gameknight999 YouTuber, which he played Minecraft and was on Game Night a lot. And he mentioned how it was declining and how it was nothing like it used to be, which I 100% agree with. I am covering that in today's video. And then Dakota followed that video up with a response video, which I kind of memed at the beginning, but no offense towards him. But it was really those two videos that made me say, okay, I think it's time I tell my story from Gameknight999, because I have quite the story to tell, and as I said, I've been, even before Garrett made his video, I've been wanting to do this. I just never had the motivation to do so until now. Now, a couple more things. As I said, Gameknight999 is a Minecraft book series. I have nothing against the books. I think they're great for children under the age of 13. They're great for them. For kids who like Minecraft, I would recommend them. I can't recommend them to anyone I know or myself because I'm well out of the age range of the books and I'm well beyond Minecraft. But even more so than that, I can't really, even if I didn't like the books, I don't even think I could hold myself against them, because essentially, now Garrett mentioned this in his own video, but the author of the books, Mark Cheverton, he will play a major role later on, so remember that name. If he hadn't wrote those books, if he had not written the Gameknight999 books, I would not be where I am today. I would have never have met any of the friends I have today. I didn't meet them directly because of the books, but it sparked a series of events that led me to meet them. So honestly, Mark, if for whatever godforsaken reason you're watching this video, thank you. Thank you for writing those books that indirectly gave me 6 of the best friends I've ever had. Now, this is not a reaction video to Garrett's or Dakota's video with the whole Gameknight999 situation and leaving YouTube. I think both of them covered it quite well. They've said everything I would want to say, so I'd be adding absolutely nothing to the conversation. I will say this though, in Garrett's video, he mentioned that one of the reasons he was quitting YouTube is because his channel growth has been at a standstill for a while. Forget how long he said. I think maybe like a half a year or something. But his channel growth, he hasn't been going anywhere. Nothing he's been trying has been working. I feel that. What I always like to say that YouTube's been beating me with a stick for 3 years. Essentially, I started YouTube on September 19th, 2015. I gained 100 subscribers at around April 2017, and I've been stuck there ever since. I have never gone past 107 subscribers. It's always hovered around that area. So I've been at a standstill way longer than Garrett has. And have I ever straight up quit YouTube? No, because I like doing it. I always think of it as like a passion project of mine or a hobby. And I still have, it's a small hope, but I still have the hope that one of these days, one video might blow up and I might gain a small following. But who knows when that video will happen. Maybe it'll be today, who knows, but I wouldn't straight up quit YouTube because your subscriber growth and your channel growth is not going anywhere. I can see where Garrett comes from because he was used to channel growth, but I mean, yeah, I took breaks frequently. Like, I think for all of August I uploaded like 1 video. August was like I went on vacation, but I wouldn't quit YouTube entirely like Garrett's doing. So that's just my view on that. Now, back to the main focus of this video. Before, again, this is just disclaimers before I get into the story. This video is not meant to offend anyone. Well, almost anyone. You know who you are, who this video might be trying to offend. But almost anyone in the Gameknight999 community, I'm not trying to offend. Almost. I know I sound like I'm rambling on, but really, this is an interesting video. This is something that you do not want to miss, because Gameknight999 secrets will be revealed, and I think a lot of you don't know some of the stuff I'm going to say in this video. So, without further ado, here is my story on Gameknight999.com. So, the story begins even before I joined the server at all. I first discovered the Gameknight999 Minecraft novels from a real-life friend at the time in around June 2015. It was 7th grade, and one day on the bus ride to school in the morning, this friend had brought with him a Minecraft book. Now, I had read one Minecraft book before. I forget the name of it, but obviously I was 13. This was a time when I loved Minecraft more than anything else in the world, as much as it physically hurts me to admit it. But, so when I found out about this Minecraft book, I was like, well, damn, let me read it. So he told me what it was, and it was called Invasion of the Overworld by Mark Sheraton. So I was like, okay. I went to my local bookstore, which was Barnes & Noble, picked up a copy, took it home, and I read the entire thing. It was good. I really liked it at the time. I thought it was one of the best books ever written. I had read the little description that Mark put about the server, but never had any thoughts of joining it. Until later that summer, early August, when I read the second one in the series. What was it? Battle for the Nether. That's what it was. I read Battle for the Nether. I liked it. It wasn't as good as Invasion of the Overworld, I will admit, though. It was a bit boring for like half of it, but it was good. It was a good follow-up. And then I saw some of the screenshots from the server, and I was like, okay, let's check this out. So, looked at a couple of videos on Mark's channel that he had put up about the server. I'm like, this sounds like a fun little survival server that I'll join. So, on August 2015, I forget the day, I think it was shortly before I started 8th grade, I typed in the IP, and I clicked join. And for the first time ever, I joined the Gameknight999 server. And of course, I was a nobody. Of course, no one there knew who I was, and I didn't know anybody else either. I had just joined for the first time. So, when I joined, I spawned in a quartz building. It was a room made of quartz. And there were like rules posted on one side, and to the other side you got the important people like the staff. I think Mark was up there, and Gameknight999 himself was up there. And also, Gameknight999's friend, who, I don't know whether this is a bad or good thing, but he was featured in the books himself, but Shawn, he was up there too. Remember that name, it'll be important later on. And then to the right, there was a portal to the creative server. Now, just gonna say now, I never went on the creative server that much. I went on it for like maybe 10 minutes in my entire life, and then just nothing. But the main attraction at the time was the survival world, because it had all these cool features, like you could protect your land when you built stuff, and you could type in a command and you could get some kits to build stuff with, some custom items, and honestly, people were more creative on the survival server than they were on the creative server, which is ironic. But my first experiences with survival was I walked out of the quartz building, I took a look around, I saw some of the things that were featured in the book, like I think you could warp to some book locations, if I remember correctly. Keep in mind, I'm going this from mostly my memory, which may not be 100% accurate when it comes to describing buildings that were actually on the server, so keep that in mind. But I did see a building from Gameknight himself that I tried to infiltrate, and that's when I first learned about the whole protect your land system. So then I realized that this was a player PvE server, player versus entity, and not, you couldn't attack each other or start wars or anything. But that will change later. So my first experience with survival was essentially introducing myself to people, just mingling around, I guess. Player activity. There was about, at a given time, 30 people on at once. At any given time, from like 9 to 10 during the day. 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. at night. That was the average player base at the time in fall 2015. Now, before I go any further, I know there's a lot of things that happened before fall 2015. I will not be mentioning any of it because I don't know anything that happened before fall 2015. I did not join before fall 2015, or late August, close enough to fall. So, alright, I'm stalling here. Time to get into it. So, couple days after I joined, I decided to type /wilderness, which I think would teleport you somewhere, or maybe it was some other command, I don't know, but somehow I ended up far away from spawn, and I found this big building that was designed to look like a game show, and it was built by someone named Total Epic Ninja. Well, I walked in, and turns out it was a game show thing. I forget the premise, I forget what it was about, I forget why he built it, but all I know is that there was a building with a game show there. So, I had to go that night, so I logged off. Next day, I went on, Total Epic Ninja himself was on. I introduced myself to him, and technically Total Epic Ninja was the first person I really had a full-blown conversation with on Gameknight999. He talked about the game show, and I was like, hey, can you give me some stuff? I'm new here, and I'd like to settle nearby, and he's like, sure. So me being the unique-minded person I am, I decided, you know what? Why don't I capitalize on this game show here? Why don't I start trying to make a name for myself on this server? Because it's a small server, and I think, well, since I don't have my own server, I might as well, you know, become known on a small server like this one. So what I do is I gather some wood and some other supplies from Total Epic Ninja that he gave me, and pretty much right next to the game show, I started construction on a hotel. And the reason I built this hotel was because I figured, well, if we're gonna have a game show, we might as well go even further into this and have a hotel for people to stay at, you know? Now, there was also a currency system on Gameknight999. You could get money because there was a server shop where you can buy unique items and other fun stuff. So, I went to other people's little businesses that they set up on the server just to see the average price range for items, and I'm like, huh, okay, so I'm gonna be operating a hotel here. What should I charge? So, as I built up the hotel, I pondered that, and eventually the hotel was finished. It was made out of oak wood, 5 stories tall, 2 rooms on each floor, and a penthouse on the top floor. I named it the Mega Hotel. Very original name. I had a bad habit of naming things after myself. Keep in mind, my name was not Mega Mastermind at the time, but I had thought about changing it. I was just waiting for the change expiration to be up. My name was Dark_Herobrine when I first joined Gameknight999. You're welcome. Look that up on NameMC, that's true. But I built the hotel after pretty much a day's work, polished it up, made it look nice, and finally made the decision to charge $100 per Minecraft night for a room. Not per real life night, per Minecraft night. For one room at a hotel in a block game. $100. My prices were outrageous. So, sometime later, Total Epic Ninja decided to do another game show, and I guess he was already kind of popular because people came for it. And, of course, they noticed the now large hotel next to it. So I was like, hey, you want to stay at my hotel? I'll give you some cool stuff, and you'll get a place to stay without having to travel back home. All it'll cost is $100, and people were like, that's outrageous. And I'm like, yes it is. Want a room? So a few people refused, but at that day, 2 people decided to buy a room, and their names were Sir Hermit Crab and Blue Sonic 05. They were my first customers at the hotel, and they, in turn, were pretty much my first, I'll put these in quotes, friends on Gameknight999. And I say them in quotes because I never really kept in contact with either of them. At least one of them. But they stayed at my hotel for the night. I got $200. And then we started talking. And eventually they were both like, hey, can we help you out? Because we're kind of bored and something to do, and you seem like a nice kid. So I'm like, sure, okay. So then we start expanding the hotel as the days progress. We add a pool, we add a garden area, and for whatever reason, we built a gym nearby, like a gymnasium in Minecraft. I don't know what we were thinking. I think we were just trying to use up the materials we had, and we just built the first thing that came to mind. I think that was Blue Sonic's idea. So, days went by, Total Epic Ninja did his game shows, and more people began to take notice of my hotel. It was around this time that I finally changed my name to Mega Mastermind, and I kind of finally remembered how I came up with the name. I had liked the name Mastermind for a while, and I had been wanting it to change to that. But the name Mastermind was taken, so I thought, what can I use as like a thing before Mastermind? And then the word Mega popped into my mind because of the hotel, and that's how I became Mega Mastermind. I think that's how it went. But yeah, I slowly become more and more known on the server as a businessman who runs a Minecraft hotel. Now, about a week after I joined, businesses hide the hotel. I'm making money because Total Epic Ninja's doing his game show. Who comes to my hotel but Shawn, pretty much the, what do you call him? He was an admin on the server, as well as Gameknight. And of course, he's Gameknight's best friend. I think they're still friends today, actually. But Shawn comes to the hotel, and he's like, hey, how you doing? He's pretty chill. Even back then, he was still pretty chill. So him and I just kind of hit it off immediately. I'm like, hi, I'm Mega Mastermind. Hi, his name was the Let's Playmates. Hi, I'm the Let's Playmates. Can I stay at your hotel? And I'm like, sure, that'll be $100. So, because he was going to participate in Total Epic Ninja's game show too. So he stays at the hotel for $100. And he's actually like, this is quite the business you've got here. And then he gives me a player head, which at that time anyway, you couldn't get too often without buying it from a head shop. So he gave me one for free. So I'm like, sweet. Later on that day, actually about an hour later, an admin joins the server that I've never seen before. Her name is Snoopy Girl 11. She hears about my hotel, I think just from reading chat. Comes, slash TPAs to me, that's teleport, so teleports to me. She's like, hey, can I stay here? Because you seem to have a nice business. And at that point I realized something. She and Shawn are admins, which would mean that they have a significantly higher amount of funds than the rest of us common folk on the server. So even back then, I still kind of had the scheming mindset that I kind of do now. So I'm like, And I think there was a way to check other people's balances, because I'm pretty sure I was able to do that with Snoopy, and she had a fat ton of cash. So I'm like, okay, you want to stay here? The price is $200 per night, per Minecraft night. She's like, really? That's kind of high. I'm like, yeah, it's $200. But she didn't question it, and I scammed Snoopy out of $100. First day I met her. Maybe that's why she never really liked me that much, but I don't even think she realized that the price was $100. I charged her $200 specifically. Couple days later, I decided to join creative for the first time, see what that's about. I was about to leave when suddenly I look in chat and I see MonkeyPants271 has joined the game. And for those of you 90s kids out there, you will know that was Mark's username for Minecraft. Mark Cheverton himself joined the server. So the first thing I do, oh my god, Mark Cheverton, dude, thank you so much for writing these books. They're so amazing. Can you sign me an autograph? And he was like, you're welcome. And he signed my Minecraft book and quill. So I got an autograph from Mark Sheverton. So I was like, oh my god, thank you so much. I geeked out over him. And then his son, Gameknight999, joined. Yes, Gameknight999 is Mark's son. Yes, it was the person the server was named after, as well as who the main character of the entire book series is about. Gameknight himself joined, so guess what I did? Oh my god, are you Gameknight999? Oh my god, I read your dad's books. They are amazing. Will you sign my Minecraft autograph? So Gameknight, I think he came up with like a funny, he came up with something witty to sign it. He was always kind of a witty, sarcastic kid, Gameknight was, but he was like, hi, how you doing? Welcome to the server. Hope you enjoy yourself. So I'm like, thank you, you legend. So, and then I kind of left creative and went back to survival. So, it has now been 2 weeks since I joined the server. I have become more and more known. People are coming to the hotel, and all is going well. Until a couple days later, Total Epic Ninja kind of abandons the game show and starts to moves off elsewhere and starts building other things, and because of that, business at the hotel starts declining. So much so that eventually I'm like, hey, let's turn this hotel into like our base or our house kind of thing. So me, Sir Hermit Crab, and Blue Sonic, and I think someone else at the time, what was his name? Gameknight999, who had kind of helped us out as well. Kind of turned it into our base. And not only that, Shawnee, did I just seriously call him Shawnee? Shawn helped us out a bit as well, because he kind of stuck with us, because, I don't know, I guess he liked us, but the business at the hotel was declining, wasn't really going anywhere. That is when I discovered something, or when I first learned about something. One day I was reading chat, and I saw something brewing between Snoopy and a couple of the higher up ranks on the server. They were, I forget what led to this, but eventually I saw the formation of a clan in chat. This was late September. No, not late September, mid-September 2018. I cannot talk. Mid-September 2015. I saw the formation of a clan called the Rebels. Now, what they were rebelling against, since their leader was an admin of the server, beats me. But Snoopy, Shawn, and a bunch of other people decide to start building a sky base and decide to call their little group the Rebels. And thus the first clan was born. So, me being the intellectual I am, I thought, this looks interesting. Why don't I try it out? So if you're watching this video and you're bored so far, stay with me. That was essentially just like the beginning, the prologue. Now we're getting into the juicy stuff. So, as I said, the Rebels, they formed in chat. Well, I watched the entire thing go down in chat. So I'm like, okay, this sounds interesting. So I messaged Shawn and I'm like, hey, can I tour your little skybase thing that you just formed with the Rebels? And he's like, sure. So I tour the skybase and I'm like, damn, this looks pretty cool. And they got like storage rooms up there. They got different houses. And so when I come back to the hotel, I'm like, you know what? Let's try this myself. So, since the hotel was pretty much dead anyways, I pack up my stuff, take all the stuff with me, journey out about 500 blocks until I reach a beach, sort of. Until I reach the ocean in Minecraft. So I'm like, this is a good place to start. So I build a little clubhouse kind of style base, about half the size of the hotel. Nothing big to start. So the next day, because it was late that night, so I leave. The next day, come on. And I think everyone was there. No, not Super. What am I talking about? Sir Hermit Crab, Blue Sonic 05, Gameknight999, and I think Total Epic Ninja was there too. So I'm like, hey, you guys want to join my little group? You see that the rebels have formed. Why don't I make one too? So you guys want to join my little group? And they're all like, yeah, because they were with me anyway, so why not? So we all move out to the base, and thus the Megas was born. Yes, I came up with the name. Yes, I named it after myself again. No one really argued the name, which was surprising. If it were me, I would have argued the hell out of that name. But the Megas was formed. So we established our base. We decorated it. We put all our combined supplies in our community supply chest. That way everyone had access to everything. And I claimed a large chunk of land in case we ever wanted to expand our territory. And by claiming land, that means anyone who you have not added to that claim cannot interact with it. And you can have like settings so that people could only open chests or only interact with like pressure plates and buttons and levers and open doors. And then you had the settings like they can actually build and destroy stuff on that land. But that's how the land claiming works. So a couple days later, we started expanding the base. Everyone built essentially their own house. We built a farm. We built a port because we were on the ocean. I remember M-Dunk built an island of note blocks. He was Grande before Grande was Grande. Don't know who Grande is. He's a meme channel, but he also did Minecraft note blocks. Still does. Check him out. He's pretty cool. Anyway, so we expanded the base, and this really set off. Well, not as much as some of the things that happened later, but this is when it really started to make an impact, because now everyone had noticed the Rebels. Now, there were two clans, the Rebels and the Megas, so they were like, people were like, huh. So they started asking to come to our base just to see what it was like, and I'm like, sure, more the merrier. And then I asked them, you want to join? And some of them joined. Now, I forget all of the people who were in, but more people joined. And eventually, we got about 6 or 7 members in. That didn't compare to the Rebels' 14 members at the time, but we got about slightly less than a quarter of the population of the server in our clan. So yeah, the Megas started to thrive. So we expanded the base even more. I think we made the farm bigger. We built a church too. And recently, Mark made the update where heads, they were now like sellable. You could trade them and sell them for money. So we gathered a bunch of heads, player heads, set up a little head shop, and of course we charged outrageous prices because that old habits die hard. So, grew more members, expanded the base. Now, while we were expanding and forming, a third clan was starting out, called the Outlaws, led by none other than Cole, my oh-so-dark-humanly sarcastic friend today, whose Minecraft name was Bounty Cole at the time. I do not know how many members he had. All I know is that the Outlaws formed around the same time as the Megas, and I asked him how many members he had. He doesn't remember. I don't remember. Yeah, so that's all you get. So, the Outlaws were forming at the same time. Now, we're going to come back to the clans and go off on something else that really kind of secured the start of my major impact on the server. It was around September 17th, 2015. I had a dead channel at the time. I had filmed 2 videos of me playing on a server called The Hive before. They sucked, I deleted them. I had wanted to restart my channel for a while. But I had wanted to do something other than Minecraft gameplay videos. I wanted to do machinima style movies, but like with my own little twist on them. Because obviously I was not affiliated with machinima. But I had watched people like Exploding TNT and other Minecraft movie makers like that, and I wanted to do one myself. So one night I decided to come up with like a little story that would work as like a first introductory video called, I forget what I called the story at the time, but it was essentially about how a noob was just trying to live his life, and then this evil pro came and bullied him and ruined everything. So it was a dumb story, but hey, nice to start off with and fit with all the other Minecraft movie makers at the time. So went on to game night one night, I think it was September 17th, and a few of my megas were on, a few of my members, so I'm like, hey, do you guys want to help me with something? And it was actually Sir Hermit Crown Blue Sonic 5 that were on. I think M-Dunk was on, but he was busy working on his Note Block Song Island. So they were like, yeah, sure. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to film a video. I'm going to like film a machinima style video. Guys want to act in it? And I'm like, yeah. Or they were like, yeah. So I'm like, okay. So I told them the plot, and Sir Hermit Crab volunteered to be the noob, and Blue Sonic 5 volunteered to be the pro. So I shot the video in one night. I just told them what to do in chat. I told them what to build. We had to make a few compromises to what I had originally had planned, because Gameknight999, there was no PvP, except I think they had a PvP arena, but that was it. There was no PvP anywhere else. So there was a scene where I originally wanted the pro to kill the noob, but since there was no PvP, I had to change it to the noob drowns himself instead. Which is, it turned out well. So we filmed that little video to restart my channel, and I edited it in a couple days, and on September 19th, 2015, I released the finished product called The Daily Life of a Noob, which for whatever reason is, as of today, is my most viewed video. It's terrible. Why is that my most viewed video? If anything, How the Pro Stole Christmas should be the most viewed one. That's the best one out of the 4, but more on that later. So, on September 19th, 2015, I dropped The Daily Life of a Noob. And of course, since it's my first video to restart my channel, I advertised the shit out of it. Now, you're not supposed to advertise on Gameknight999, but I was like, who cares? I'm advertising this crap. So, I go on, spam up the whole chat. Guys, check this video that I just made out. Link. People clicked on it, and for whatever reason, they liked it. They thought it was a good video, and that right there is what really started the impact I had. Because never before had a machinima style video been filmed on Gameknight999. I was the first person to do something like that. And it was groundbreaking for the server at the time. So, because of that, we actually got 5 new members into the Megas on that same day. I'm sorry I don't remember who any of them were, but trust me, they were there. Oh wait, I remember one of them. I think one of them was like Curse Manta 4 or something, and another one was Dominic with some random numbers. Alright. Speaking of clans, after the success of The Daily Life of a Noob, it was around October, and something happened. I forget exactly what sparked this, but the rebels and the outlaws started to really not like each other. So much so that the outlaws declared war on the rebels. Now, you may ask, how does one fight a war in a server that has land claims and no PvP outside the arena? Well, for one, you go to the PvP arena for the battles, but for the main event of the war, how do you destroy the other person's base? Well, here's how you do it. You gain trust from the other person, or you send someone from your side to their side. They gain their trust, they let them into the claim, and then they start griefing and stealing everything. That's how you do it. So guess what? What do you think happened? Yeah, that happened. The rebels and the outlaws started doing that to each other. Yes, the admin of the server condoned griefing to the outlaws, even though that was, like, you know, very hypocritical, because she had banned people for griefing before Snoopy did. But anyway, I saw this all go down in chat, and I'm like, I'm just gonna stay out of this, because I want no part in this. But I did end up meeting Cole. This is essentially how I met Cole. Now, we didn't talk much at the time, but I'm like, hey, you're the leader of the Outlaws, I'm the leader of the Megas. Good luck! Because I don't like Snoopy that much, because even at that time, she was pretty strict. And she had unfairly banned a few people that I just disagreed with. Now, even though I stood in the middle and didn't interfere, that was only at first. I was always a bit of a villain on the Gameknight999 server, at least to the staff size. Well, most of the staff, except Shawn. I was not a villain in Shawn's eyes. I was pretty cool in Shawn's eyes, I think. But I then got an idea. The rebels and the outlaws don't like each other. They want to steal each other's rare items to become the more richer and powerful clan. They want to try and prove that that they are the better of the two. How do I capitalize on this? So, I then had a meeting with my megas, who kind of had the same idea as me, and we decided we would send spies to both the outlaws and the rebels for a hefty, hefty price. So, that's what we did. I think Total Epic Ninja acted as a spy for the rebels, and someone else, I forget, acted as a spy for the outlaws. But we hit up both Shawn, Snoopy, and Cole and a couple of his members. I'm like, hey, you need any spies? Here you go. Just pay me like $10,000. It'll work. So yeah, I got paid a huge sum of money for spies. And so that's essentially how it was for the war. For about a week into October, it was kind of like that. I was sold my members as spies to both of the sides. Basically, you know, manipulating them out of money. Meanwhile, Shawn and I were still close. He didn't care about the war. He didn't want a war. That was Snoopy's idea. And I think at that time I had actually met Dakota too, because he was a good friend of Snoopy's, and he wanted the war too, so Shawn was kind of outnumbered for people who didn't want the war. He just, like me, sat back at the time, not realizing that I was draining their clan's fund for fake spies. At that time, I had filmed my second video too, called The Derp Club, and out of all of the 4 videos, that one was hands down the worst. I said how what am I saying? I said the daily life of a noob was terrible. The Derp Club was worse. It was so bad. Don't watch it, even though I refused to delete it because nostalgia. But that only increased my clout on the server, because now Gameknight999 had 2 movies. under its belt. And even Mark and Gameknight himself became aware, because I think they watched at least The Daily Life of a Noob. I think they watched that, and I think they might have watched How the Pro Stole Christmas as well. But one day, about 2 weeks later into the war, I decided to go on a journey, sail across the ocean, found another strip of land, just see where stuff was, or what stuff is, see if I could find anything I can use. And I find a base, and it's not just like a small base, it's like a big base with a wall. There's one building in the middle, and then there's a bunch of houses surrounding it. I thought it was the Rebels base. Now, Snoopy, or I thought it was... What am I talking about? I'm reading off a sheet of notes here, and I'm not reading it correctly. I discovered this base, and I didn't know whose base it was. It wasn't labeled. I'm like, huh, see if they have any stuff here. I go onto the territory expecting it to be claimed. Some of it is, but I go into the big building, it's not claimed. Some of it is not claimed, including their chests. So I open the chests, and I see diamonds, lapis, gold, and iron, and some other rare items, custom items on the server. So what do? Well, I rob them. I steal it. I just steal it all. Because of course I did. What I didn't know at the time, that was the Outlaws base. I had just straight up robbed from the Outlaws. So when I return to my base and Mr. Cole comes on and sees that, you know, a large chunk of his stuff has gone, he's mad. He thinks it's the Rebels, because they're at war with each other. So he launches a full-on, like, attack on the Rebels, trying to, like, get them to reveal secret information and give them so much items. Essentially, he tried to do whatever he could do to fight a war on a server with no griefing and no PvP. A short time later, Shawn actually was at the Mega Space because I invited him down, and I was like, hey, check out what we've been doing all this time. And Shawn sees the transaction of me selling a spy to the Outlaws, because the Outlaws did not know we were selling spies to the Rebels, and the Rebels did not know we were selling spies to the Outlaws. Shawn sees us sell a spy to the Outlaws, and of course discovers what we've been doing, and he thinks it's hilarious. He told me that he actually started laughing in real life when he realized what we were doing, and how we were just so manipulating both the Rebels and the Outlaws and just draining them of their cash. Did he stop me? Of course not. He just continued to let it happen and didn't say a word. So, that made me feel good. Sometime later, Praxo, or is it Prasco? And I'll refer to him as that for the rest of the video. So Oscar P. Backwards was another member of the Rebels, and he was higher up on the server. He was well known, people liked him. He had heard about me through Shawn, and him and I had talked a few times. I decided to want to go to the Rebels base to see if they had improved since the last time I was there. Oscar P. Backwards let me in. It wasn't really much improved the last time. It was the same sky base as before. The only thing they had really added was a new storeroom. So I went to that new storeroom, and much to my surprise, just like the Outlaws base, it wasn't claimed. Someone had run out of claim blocks. You had like a max amount of claim blocks you could use. They ran out, so while Oscar P. Backwards watched me, I robbed them blind. And did he stop me? I'll give you a few seconds to ponder this. Did Oscar P. Backwards, an esteemed member of the Rebel clan, try to stop me from robbing them in any way? Absolutely not. Nope, he just stood there and watched me rob them, and he was just like, well, okay, have fun. he didn't care. So, I robbed the rebels, and guess what? They thought it was the outlaws. So, to recap, I robbed the outlaws, they thought it was the rebels, and then I went on to rob the rebels, they thought it was the outlaws. Why did I rob them? I don't know, I wanted their stuff. They had better items than me. So, the war lasted throughout the entire month of October, and I should say, as I said before, I used the term war very loosely because, remember, they're fighting a war on a server that did not have PvP except in one PvP arena, and because of the land claim system, you could not grief or interact with other people's land in any way, and if you somehow did, it was still bannable. So technically, I could have been probably permanently banned for robbing essentially from an admin of the server. But of course, no one reported me at all because they didn't care. So, war lasted throughout all of October. Halloween happened. That was the first year where I set up like a little haunted house thing in my garage. Dressed up as a scarecrow and jumped down and scared little children. It was great. I missed that. Come early November, the war eventually died off. Snoopy and Cole were like, hey, this is stupid. Plus, we're losing a ton of money to the megas, and I think some of them had started to catch on at this point. I was charging the crap out of them. So, the war died off. Neither of them achieved their goal of becoming the richest and most powerful clan on the server, because guess what? The megas were the richest and most powerful clan on the server through exploitation, because we had scammed the crap out of the rebels and the megas and exploited the war. So, this was basically peak moment from Mega's history. Sometime later, though, the megas would soon start to decline, but even so, something bigger was still to come. It is now mid-November 2015. I have been wanting my own server for a while. And I'd finally convinced my dad to let me buy one. So, November 22nd, 2015, Megacraft was created. That is when I first bought my server. I created it late that night. Set up a little spawn area, and my ecstatic self went on to Gameknight999. There were like maybe 5 people on at 11 o'clock at night, and I had said, hey, you know, if you want, I just created my own server. Anyone want to help me get set up? So 2 people from Gameknight999 came on, joined me. Their names, Waffleman27 and Megabrine. They were the first people to join Megacraft. 2 days later, I was on Megacraft at the time, and more people from Gameknight999 came on because I had started kind of advertising my server on Game Night, even though I kind of wasn't supposed to. I had to do it in secret, because if an admin caught you advertising another server, you were gone. That's how it was. But in that time, Mark had actually added survival games to his server. And so I decided to go on survival games. I tried it out. It was mediocre survival games. It wasn't Blitz on Hypixel, but it was mediocre. But I decided to advertise on survival games because there was no staff there at the time. So I said, hey, for those of you that know who I am on here, I have a server of my own now, in case you guys want to check it out. It's a survival server, small like this one. Hope you guys maybe want to help me set it up. So a couple people came on. I forget exactly who, but I remember one of them that came on. He was someone I had never really seen before. I guess he was new to Game Night. His username was Chet Lewis. Yes, on November 24th, 2015, I met Jacob for the first time. He is still my closest friend to this day. On the following few days, players from Game Night came to see Megacraft because, again, I was well known on the server at this point. So, people helped me build a spawn. Shawn came on, and he actually had the idea for the original spawn. And this era is what I like to call the origin era. And if you want the history of Megacraft, in 2017 I released a mostly still relevant video about the history of Megacraft. So if you want to know more about what actually happened in Megacraft at this time, go watch that video. I'll link it. But yeah, Megacraft started to thrive a bit. The spawn was going well. I had actually built a PvP arena of my own, and people were out building houses and stuff and starting to establish themselves. Hell, even Game Night and Mark himself joined Megacraft, albeit brief. They came on just to comment. They were like, cool server, hope it's a success. Yeah, Mark Sheraton himself was actually a really nice person to me. He genuinely wished me success on my server. But something happened. 2 weeks after Megacraft was created. We had been discussing about adding a creative world to the server, kind of like how Game Night was. In case you haven't caught on yet, we were essentially sort of copying Game Night with Megacraft in the beginning. We had wanted to add a creative server to lure more people in, and Waffleman and I were discussing this, and he told me about the world, or a plugin called Multiverse, which allows you to create multiple worlds in your Minecraft server. So I'm like, okay, since Waffleman seems to be the plugin expert, I gave him full permissions with Multiverse, but I told him don't create more than like 1 or 2 worlds at most, because this is a small server. I bought the cheapest package. It only had like 512 megabytes worth of RAM that the server could handle. It could not handle much. Megacraft could never handle much. So I tell Waffleman to be careful with the plugin and see if you can try and create a creative world. Well, Waffleman didn't listen to me. What he had wanted was for like creative survival and a bunch of other worlds like mini games, and he had actually wanted some of the eventual would-be staff members of my server to have their own worlds to themselves. So instead of creating like 2 worlds like I had originally instructed him to do, he creates 9. He created 9 worlds. Obviously my server couldn't handle it and crashed. It went down. I could not get it back up. I was really pissed at Waffleman, but I eventually came to forgive him shortly after, because I realized that it's just a server, and besides, I'm already really well known on Game Night, so we all went back to Game Night. It is now late November, early December. Clans were slightly declining. I noticed from the time I was gone on Megacraft to the time I came back, a few of my members had left. At the peak of the war, the Megas had around 17 members. They were pretty much even with the Outlaws, but the Rebels had gained more. They had about like 25 or so members. But we had actually lost some, and we were down to around like 12, 13 members. Same with the Outlaws and the Rebels. Clans were declining, and I had noticed this. I wasn't active as much in the megas anymore. I kept to myself pretty much all of December. I decided it was that time of the month again and decided to film my third Minecraft movie called The Wacky Miners, which all of the actors for my movies, most of them were from the megas, but a couple of them were random people that I'd never met before but wanted to act, since they had seen my other movies and thought they were pretty good. I call them movies because I can't call them machinimas because I'm not affiliated with machinima. It was also around mid-December that I filmed the classic How the Pro Stole Christmas, but I'm not going to talk about that in this video. In December, there's a special video coming up for that. That's all I'm going to say. December, special video about How the Pro Stole Christmas. I'll talk about it in depth then. It was also around the time when I filmed How the Pro Stole Christmas that Shawn and I reunited, because after the crash of Megacraft, he disappeared for a while, but then came back to Game Night. It was also around that time that two people, I think we had kind of met in just a random conversation. I don't think they were ever in any clans, but I met two people. One of them was named One Mixel Miner, and the other one was named Harry Larry 05. And as, of course, we know now, they are my two friends, Alan and Noah. So, Christmas goes by. It was pretty good. I remember there was one night where me, Jacob, Alan, I don't know if Noah was there, I think he was, and Sir Hermit Crab, we all went on Mineplex at the time, and we just had a blast playing minigames together. Oh my god, that was one of the most fun nights I ever had in Minecraft. Okay, so, Christmas goes by. New Year's happens, and it's now January 2016, and Game Night's losing players. That becomes noticeable. Game Night is losing players. Mark does not like this and wants to do everything he can to either keep the players that he has or bring in new ones. Now, more of his books are coming out, more people are reading them, more people are joining, so the losing players problem is getting solved from the new readers joining. So, he decides to make some changes. He redoes the entire spawn so that you no longer spawn in a quartz room. He now has a full-on hub. He also adds new cosmetics like pets, purchasable ranks. He adds a new world, a hardcore survival world, which is essentially just survival, but you don't get kits. And he has something called infernal mobs, which were like stronger mobs. He adds more minigames, like he adds, he already had paintball, and survival games, but he adds a few more ones that I forget the name of, that I forget what he added. But he basically makes some changes, and it was at this point that I start to see the server is changing before my eyes. Less and less people are coming on, and I noticed this. I have not seen M-Dunk for a while, and a few of my other megas that I was close to, I have also not seen. But some of them, well, you'll see. It was around late January 2016 that it came time to renew my Minecraft server that had been down all this time. So I was about to just email the host and tell them, forget it, my server's dead. But then I realized something. Instead of doing that, why don't I just email the host of the server and tell them, you know, restart it, get it back up. So they did, and I logged onto my server. It was a brand new world, and I was like, sweet, I have a server again. So I relaunched Megacraft. Everyone that was on there previously rejoined, and I made sure not to install Multiverse this time, and I made sure to give Waffleman a large lecture about not doing anything crash like he did, or the server would crash again. So, I had this time I was fully committed to Megacraft. Built a dome spawn. A spawn as a giant quartz dome, kind of in honor of the original Gameknight999 spawn. It was a giant dome made out of quartz, you know, reminiscent. And thus that era became known as the Dome era, named after the dome spawn. Even though I had created my own server, I still came on Game Night, but I came on less and less and less. And the people I knew either themselves came on less or had migrated to Megacraft, like Cole. The Outlaws were pretty much dead at this time. Cole migrated to Megacraft. Alan migrated to Megacraft. Jacob did. Waffleman did. Sir Hermitcraft did. Blue Sonic 05 did. Noah did. And a few other people from the Megas had migrated to Megacraft. And even some of the people from the Rebels migrated to Megacraft. Snoopy came on every so often. And Shawn came on a little bit more than every so often. Not every day, but he came on often enough. And I think a couple of people at the time from the Outlaws migrated to Megacraft too. Those members would never stay for that long, but at least for the Dome era anyway, they stayed. But this isn't Megacraft history, this is Gameknight999 history. So, Game Night. Everyone I knew had either left or migrated to Megacraft. Still though, I came on Game Night every so often, just to check up on my old Mega space, maybe build some stuff, help people out. You know, the usual. They had solved the player problem. The new readers liked the new changes that Mark had made, but it didn't sit well with the people who lived through the 2015 era, like me. Us old players, we weren't too happy with the changes, and I think that's why everyone started to leave. The final straw for me was sometime in, I think it was late February 2016. Final straw for me was when my beloved survival world got deleted in place of a new one. Everything I had done, and it just came without warning. Mark was like, oh, by the way, we're deleting the survival world because we're starting fresh. Now, a lot of people did not like that, and that caused a bunch of the old players to leave. A lot of them still remained, but also a lot of them left. And I was just sitting there when I realized this, when I joined that day. I'm like, what happened? Where's everything I'm used to? And it was just gone. Like, everything I'd built, the hotel, all the people I've met, and the Megas, my videos where I filmed it, it was gone, just like that, and it wasn't coming back. That did it. That was the final straw for me. I had already been coming on Game Night less and less frequently, maybe like once a week for just a few minutes, but that was it for me. So, I didn't make a big spectacle of my departure. I didn't announce it or anything. I just slipped away into the shadows as quietly as when I first joined. For now. You still with me? Good. Alright. We're nearing the end of this story, but we have one more big event to get through. It is now July 2017. A full year and a half has gone by since I left Gameknight. Now, I'd be lying if I said that I never came on Gameknight in that time. I went on about maybe 4 times, but only for like about 10 minutes each, just to check up on things. That was it. Megacraft went well over the year. We had lost most of the original Gameknight999 players that were on, but I had finally secured and made some of the friends I had today, which were all from Game Night. And that included Alan, Noah, Jacob, Cole, and Vicente, who was at the time the neighbor of Waffleman27, who had actually joined later on in March 2016. So technically he did not come from Gameknight999, but still, I owe it to Gameknight999 or else Megacraft would have never existed. But anyway, that's how many times I was on. Now, Alan and Noah specifically were on more often than me. They kind of, not that frequently, but frequently enough, return to Game Night every so often. Now, Noah got banned for swearing. I forget what he said. I'll just have to ask him. But Noah got banned for swearing. Now, Alan. This is where the final act takes place. Alan. Let me tell you what happened with him. In summer 2016, yeah, we're going back to summer 2016 now. There was an incident that happened with Alan. Alan always had shitty Wi-Fi. He describes his own Wi-Fi as AIDS. He was on Game Night one of the times. He was playing survival games, and Snoopy was in that survival games with him. Now, Snoopy had never really liked Alan that much. I don't know why, but it was down. They were the final two left, and it was a fight to the death. Now, Alan, because of his Wi-Fi, was lagging all over the place, and I can confirm this. Every time I fought Alan in Minecraft, it was like fighting a fax machine. But Alan's Wi-Fi kicked in, and he started lagging, but that actually gave him an advantage, because to Snoopy, he was like hitting her from like 10 blocks away, when of course in reality he wasn't. So, Snoopy thought he was hacking, and perma-banned him. Alan got permanently banned from Gameknight999. He was not happy about it. He tried to appeal to Mark to get unbanned. It never happened. Mark never accepted him. So that was that. I feel like I should mention that ever since Mark made the changes in 2016, those new readers that had joined quickly left, and the server once again started to decline. Now, Mark tried to make more changes, but that didn't solve anything. In fact, the more changes Mark made, the more the server started to decline, the more it started to lose popularity in players. Even Gameknight999 himself wasn't going on that much. Not even Shawn was going on that much anymore. Well, actually, Shawn more than Game Night, but still. So, Alan gets banned because of his lag, because Snoopy thought he was hacking. So, jump back to July 2017. This is where Garrettron comes in. Yes, Garrett is part of the story. Alan and Garrett, Alan had been watching Garrett's channel for some time, and they kind of been talking before, at least on Skype. They had been talking, I think. Alan and Garrett were kind of close, as I just mentioned, and Alan mentions to Garrett that he had been banned from Game Night for about a year and a half, falsely, because of his hacking, which was actually lag. So Garrett's like, okay, he's gonna get Alan unbanned. Garrett puts in a good word to Mark, and miraculously, Alan gets unbanned. Mark apologizes for falsely banning him for hacking, because he wasn't hacking. Alan, I think at that time, got a bit better Wi-Fi, so he comes on to Game Night again, and I actually kind of joined him for a bit, just to congratulate him. And then I leave again, because again, I have my own server to attend to. I'm not part of Game Night anymore. Well, 3 days later, we have a Discord server. that we still use today. Obviously, that's how me and my friends talk. Alan comes on the Discord server, and he announces something. 3 days after he has been unbanned, he has been rebanned. He appealed multiple times to Mark. Mark ignored them all. So this is where I start to get a bit suspicious, and I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Now, Shawn and I, it was rare, but we still kept in contact, and through Alan, I started to get in contact with Shawn and also Garrett himself. And a couple days later, we get into a Discord call, Shawn, Garrett, and I, and they tell me the truth about Alan's ban. Now, what happened about Alan's ban was Snoopy had never liked Alan. So, when she found out that Mark had unbanned Alan because of Garrett putting a good word in, she did not like that at all, because she did not want Alan on that server. I don't know whether she still legitimately thought he was hacking or whether she knew that it was just his bad Wi-Fi. I don't know. But all I know is Snoopy did not want Alan back. So, apparently what she did was she went to Mark and she essentially blackmailed Mark to ban Alan again, threatening to permanently leave the server herself if she didn't. Now, that's what did it for Mark, because Mark did not want the first players to ever join Game Night from when it first launched, and she had always been, in Mark's eyes, a very good admin. So, Mark reluctantly rebanned Alan, stating that it was because of further analysis. He had discovered that Alan really was hacking, when, of course, that wasn't the truth at all. The truth was Snoopy blackmailed Mark to ban Alan. And through that Discord call, besides that, we had actually discovered a long history of staff corruption, power abuse, and cover-ups. Something that even back in late 2015, early 2016, during my time on the server, I'd become aware of. And that's also pretty much the main reason I never liked Snoopy too much. Because I'd seen a few unfair, unjust bans, and when anyone ever tried to speak out about it, she would threaten to mute or ban them as well, so that was some power abuse. What I didn't know about was there was a bunch more stuff that happened. Unfair bans, unfair mutes, and all of it was covered up by either Mark himself, Snoopy, or other staff members at the time. I think even Crafter did it. They had covered stuff up like this. So yeah. Back to Alan. I'm super defensive of my friends, so I decide to do something about it. I'm like, hey, alright, so no wonder why everyone's leaving. There is a history of staff abuse, corruption, and it's being covered up. Like, Alan's ban was covered up. Mark did not tell Alan the true reason why he was banned. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to make an attempt to save the server I once loved. So, I forget the day, but somewhere around early July 2017, I make the infamous 2017 summer live stream on Gameknight999. I'm sure you guys remember that. It was a Friday night. I had on Game Night for the first time in a while, and this time with an actual purpose. I disguised the stream as just messing around on Gameknight999, just having fun, but I had an ulterior motive, and the true reason why I made that live stream was to openly make people aware about the staff corruption on Gameknight999. If you remember, during the stream, I openly told the viewers about Alan's ban to raise awareness of the staff corruption on the server. I had also advertised the stream in chat just like I did with my first videos, And within minutes, the entire server population was watching, because even though pretty much no one knew who I was there in 2017, since they were all new people from way beyond my time, they still watched anyway, because they saw what I was talking about and they began to get intrigued. So I just repeated everything multiple times to them. We're told about Alan's ban, told about the staff corruption, told them about Snoopy specifically. I specifically called out Snoopy, told them exactly what she did. I think I'd actually called out Crafter too, because Shawn had mentioned him, that he had been covering up some stuff, some false bans in the past, and that we were all being silenced. And I essentially compared the Gameknight999 server now to a supreme dictatorship, with not even Mark as the dictator. Mark is just the puppet. I told them that Snoopy was the dictator, since she had essentially the power to blackmail Mark to do literally whatever she wanted. Yeah, it was that bad. I don't know how she became this way. I don't know what happened to lead her up to this. All I know is that she was acting this way, and people needed to know about it. People needed to say something. So, my live stream got enough attention that the co-owner of the server, Quad Bamber, came on to confront me, live on stream. I talked to him in chat. He essentially asked me why I was doing this, and I straight up told him. I was like, I once loved this server. This was my home. This was where I came to be. This was the start of everything. I'm trying to save it from corruption. He didn't want to hear it, though. He was like, well, if you don't like it now, why are you here? And then I just repeated it. To save the server I once loved. That was the true intention of the live stream. After hearing that, Quad seems... I don't know whether he was content with my response or not, but he left. Now that the people on Gameknight999 that night were informed about what was really happening on the server, I decide to end the stream, and I leave to hang out on Megacraft. Much to my surprise, almost half the people on Gameknight999 had come to Megacraft, since I just couldn't, pass up the opportunity to self-advertise at the end of that stream, since, I kind of had the entire population of the server watching. I, dropped my own advertisement at the end. So, a bunch of people were hanging out on Megacraft, and of course, since Megacraft, unlike Gameknight999, did have PvP enabled almost everywhere, that meant anyone who ventured off from spawn, free kills. So of course, me and my friends who had full gear began to just slaughter the crap out of the Gameknight999 folks who were there. But it was fun. I actually talked to some of them. We had a nice time hanging out. I pretty much told them everything I knew at the time about, the corruption, because they wanted more. I had essentially told them what Garen and Shawn told me. And actually, speaking of Shawn, he came on, and he essentially told me that I had guts to say what I said. And I was like, thanks, dude. And then, much to my surprise, Snoopy herself comes on to Megacraft for the first time in a year. And Alan also happened to be on, so it was fun to watch those two duke it out in chat. So, the Gameknight999 folks leave. It's later on the night. I decide to go on to Gameknight999 to see what my impact was like, see if anyone was still talking about the stuff I had mentioned. I click on Gameknight999. I click to join the server. And yep, I was banned by Mark Cheverton personally. Well, That did it. I didn't care anymore. Gameknight999 could wither away and die for all I care. That was it. My efforts to try and save the server I once loved, to save the server where I started, to save the server that pretty much caused me to make the friends I have today, to save the server that gave me my legacy, it was all for nothing. Because the owner of the server banned me personally. So why should I care anymore? I didn't. That was it. That was the end. I was banned from Gameknight999 permanently. Didn't even give a reason, but of course I knew the reason. Of course I knew the reason. It was because I made a live stream and spoke out against the staff corruption on the server. And Mark, ever so desperate to keep his player base, silenced me. So that was it. My story ends there. But there is a few more things that I want to say. So like I just said, my story ends there. And on the night I made that live stream in July 2017, I got permanently banned from Gameknight999.com for speaking out against the staff members. So I didn't care. That was it. That was the end of it. As I said, the server could die. In fact, I hoped it did. I secretly hoped it did after that. Few things that happened after that live stream. Garrett stopped communication with us a few days later. Turns out he wanted to avoid drama, which is actually commendable, and he made a good choice. Shawn and I kept in contact, but I never asked him to try to unban me because I didn't care. But he himself admitted that I should have not been banned. But, again, that I did have balls to say what I said live in front of the entire server population that was on. And shortly after, I think sometime in fall 2017, Shawn himself quit Gameknight999. I kept in contact with a couple of other people from Game Night, including Crafter, Dakota/Super MC, and Oscar P. Backwards. We follow each other on Instagram. Out of all of us, Dakota and I are probably the closest. Him and I know each other the most, although we're not really friends, we're more acquaintances than anything. And as for the server itself, it continued to rapidly decline. A lot of other people left, and finally, I think sometime earlier this year, Snoopy herself quit Gameknight999. So, the server rapidly declined. As for its current status, it's not dead yet, although it's definitely on life support. But, despite everything I may have said, Gameknight999 will always have a special place in my heart, because it's where Mega Mastermind came to be. Woo! That was a lot to go through. Guys, if you are still watching, thank you. Thank you for just sitting here, watching Fortnite gameplay, and listening to me talk about Minecraft. Thank you for just spending time hearing about pointless block game drama that you probably don't care about, but it's important to me. I want to give a huge shout out to Shawn. It was through him that I got some of the info for this video, because I didn't know or didn't remember some of it. Huge shout out to Shawn. I'll link his Twitter in the description. As of right now, he has it privated, so I don't know if you want to follow him or not, but his Twitter is essentially a giant meme page at this point, so if you want some epic funny memes, go follow Shawn. I want you to drop him that follow, because he is honestly a legend to me right now. He is an amazing human being that helped me out with this video. And of course, if you want to follow my own Twitter and Instagram, link is in the description below. And hey, if you're new here, subscribe please. As I had mentioned earlier in this video, YouTube has been beating me with a stick for 3 years, and I still have the hope that maybe one day I'll go somewhere. So, if you like this video, please subscribe and smash that like button and turn on post notifications. Actually, don't. Post notifications are gay. Alright, that's going to be in the end of this video. I will see you guys later. Next video will be a normal commentary video. I already know what I'm going to talk about. But until then, I hope you all have a nice day. Bye-bye.